Coming to the sixth question, policy contradictions among various competing sectors and stakeholders have resulted in inadequate protection and prevention of degradation to environment. Comment with relevant illustrations. See, when I saw this question, this particular sentence or phrase, protection and prevention of degradation, this reminded me of the directive principle of state policy. And we have a term with regard to environment even in our fundamental duties. So while I was starting this question to answer it, what I did was I just quoted this phrase and said that, I quoted the DPSP and the fundamental duty in which there is a mention of environment protection. Since it's a question of polity, you should be quoting some of the other articles which you might find being related to your answer. So with related to environment conservation, the DPSP and FD, I quoted the fundamental duty and then I started my answer. So they're asking about competing sectors, and then they're also asking you to comment with relevant illustrations. See, when you talk of illustrations, illustration means that you need to put up real life examples, what are happening around you. So on that, whatever came to my mind and thought in those moments, competing ministries, or competing sectors, or stakeholders, I was reminded of one example. It was in news at that moment that, for extending the Delhi metro, a lot of trees are being felled, and a lot of deforestation is happening. So that's a kind of a competing interest, because we need this for infrastructure, we need this because of urbanization, and the environment is being sacrificed for this. So this is one example of competing interest. Another example that came to my mind that moment was the competing interest between establishing an industry and taking away the agricultural land or clearing the agricultural produce. So between industrialization or industrial units versus the agriculture. And because this again can be connected to the environment. Another thing that really could be added, and I think I added that, was regarding the pollution part. How because of these industries we are abusing the environment like anything. There's air, water, soil, all kinds of pollution. So this is again a competing interest, that we don't have ways to discharge the harmful toxic chemicals, and then we are harming ultimately the environment. So these are some of the competing sectors and some illustrations that I made. One more example that came to my mind was building dams for energy security and for agriculture. But again, when you build a dam, you have people who are being displaced, people who are getting unemployed, the submergence of land, and there's also harm to the biodiversity. It's a very big question right now in front of us. So this is another competing interest which example could be given. I concluded on a positive note that despite this, we have to manage both the things together. As much as we need development, we also need to ensure that environment is taken care of.